Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Here for Daredevil Born Again Season 2, Episode 2. And this is our spoiler review. I'm here with Jay King. I'm here with Phil. And man, is this show off to a good start? Yes, we are picking off where we left off, where we're getting seeing the rise of the Anti-Vigilante Task Force and everything. And we're seeing that these layers are very, very complex, very, I say, realistic in terms of what's going on in our world right now. In a way that's like, it's very uncomfortable to watch because we're going through this in real time. And just in a parallel, how they displayed this in a way I felt was very raw and organic though. But I just want to start with you, Phil. Like, Phil, what was your thoughts in terms of this entire episode and the rise of the Anti-Vigilante Task Force and basically abusing their authority to the common man?
Little too close to home. Not specifically in my area, but in collectively going on in the United States. Very, very telling, and unintentionally too, because this was all shot last year, right? Like all of this that we've seen, it was shot last year. So the fact that they didn't quite predict, things that happened earlier in this year, right? But you could argue that inspiration could have been taken from in a real world setting. Overall, good episode. Very a lot of questions asked. A lot of questions asked, specifically like, now we know Cherry's okay, but like, where is he? Who's got him? How did the Anti-Vigilante Task Force find out where Matt was? Like, there are a lot of questions I think this episode poses in a great way, and I think it ends on an interesting note. I would also say that, I think the highlight for me was watching, is it Angela?
Yeah, Angela Del Toro. Yeah,
the niece of Kamar de los Reyes' character. Watching her go through that experience, because how else do you traumatize a child? Here's a way. Snatching her aunt out of a convenience store for just merely touching an officer and claiming it as assault. That's some goofy, wild shit you'd probably see happening in the U.S. today. It's not out of the realm of possibility. There are adaptions, and then there's taking adaptions to a very next real level, and I think that is a strength that has always been consistent with the Daredevil series. Be it from the Netflix era to now, this show just does a really good job of just dropping you what feels like, a real world, despite the fact that it is in fact filled with characters like Dr. Doom, Captain America, and Spiderman, who I'm sure we'll get some mention of somewhere down the line, considering he has a movie coming out soon. So yeah, interesting stuff. Loved it.
Yeah, by the time of this recording, the trailer will come out tomorrow. So we getting these little 2-second clips of stuff and everything, regardless how horrible that marketing play is. Anyway, yes, going to UJ King, I felt that as we kind of get into more of Wilson Fisk's side with Vanessa, and also seeing that Bullseye is out, and now we see him, returning, and he's out for vengeance, but he has the tie to Vanessa, going back to Born Again Season 1, where she was the one that made the deal with them to kill Foggy, right? Allegedly, right? Till we see some stuff down the road. But anyway, she feel like this level of a dark force looming over her, and we're seeing that Bullseye is still that's his target is her. And it's kind of similar to what we saw with, I forgot Matt Murdock's ex-girlfriend's name, who's the behavioral therapist. Her name?
No.
Yeah. Anyway,
right now. This Mark. The character's name is. I'm looking it up right now because I'm not
exactly.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of, listen, it is what it is though, but it's just kind of, it's similar to how the behavioral therapist, how she's Hannah.
Okay.
Heather Glenn.
Heather. Okay. So Heather, when she's dealing with her trauma with Muse, which is actually, again, realistic in terms of what she's gone through. Now we see Vanessa, she's having her trauma with Bullseye. Mind you, this is a person that dealt with him, close and personal with Daredevil Season 3. on their wedding night. Like, so it's like, there's a lot of things that traumatic, that there's history with these characters. But what were your thoughts in terms of Vanessa and how she's moving, but also Bullseye Cohen, and basically have vengeance for blood for her?
I just gotta say, just in general, like the fact that there are just so many ghosts haunting so many characters, which will definitely be something that we'll see later on in the season. But for now, let's just talk about Vanessa and I guess Heather. Almost forgot her name for a second, because I wanted to. But anyways, but in terms of Vanessa, it is interesting, but it's like, it's not unexpected, because it's like, you literally had this man go kill Foggy Nelson just to hide up your stupidity, and now that's coming to bite you in the ass. The fact that you and your husband were almost killed last season, and again, if it wasn't for Matt, you guys would be dead. So it's like, now that thought is like, it's the same thing with Heather. It's like a near-death experience, but it's like, that's the type of thing that's going to stick in your head, because it's like, they almost got you, but what's going to happen when they come back and try again? Will they get you? Will they actually put you 6 feet under? Are you going to have the mental fortitude to, evade them or not? And again, just talking for both Heather and for Vanessa, it's like, I don't know. I feel like Vanessa, maybe a little bit, maybe she might be able to survive. Heather, I'm not sure. But I mean, we got a lot to say about Heather, but I'd rather say that for another day if my theories come true. But I say, in terms of where Vanessa is going, it's definitely a dangerous spot that's going to end up blowing it up in her face, either by the public knowing what she truly did with Bullseye and with Foggy, or by her getting gravely wounded and maybe even feeling more of Fisk's anger. But we'll see. But again, just a lot of really good stuff here. A lot of really good stuff.
Yeah, and I like how this episode is. It's very emotionally raw, just because of what's going on right now, right? And I thought, especially with that scene in the corner store, right? Because this is where you also see the eyes of political ideology diverge, because it's not like this stuff was not going on. Those kids were stealing from that corner store guy, and that guy, the owner, our cashier, he had enough of it. Like, he's like, no, I am done. And this is showing just how with society, especially in the city, when it's the political violence and the turmoil is just risen to the common person, to the point where people are just mentally just losing their damn minds, right? Both people just trying to steal from youth, and stuff, but also to owners just trying to keep their business, afloat and everything. And yet you got people in that community trying to, take advantage of it. And then the people try to say, hey, just put that back. I don't have to report, just put it back. And no, and then a lot more high situations come up, and that's how it is, and that's how complicated it is. And it's sad because it's so real on this and everything. And I'm just like, even to the point of, again, regardless of your political affiliation, using the two Latina women as the center point of that scene right now, and just with stuff going on, and the trucks flying through, it's like, it's heavily implying what's going on there, and again, this was over a year ago this was shot. So it's just, again, the same thing with the boys. It's where you say art imitates life and stuff, or just our life is just, is what it is, becoming a harsh reality that we're facing. And now art is imitating real, revealing that to you, and stuff. So it is a propaganda, it's reality, and what's going on. So I just felt that, to me, that scene was just very raw. But now I don't want to nitpick on the young lady, in terms of her acting and that, but there's like just one few moments I was just like, okay, that could have been a little bit performed a little better, in terms of her being pulled into truck. I'm not trying to, be nitpick, but I was just looking at it, seeing just like, oh, okay, you could have done a little bit better, but that's just me. But going into with Matt and Karen is that, they he's still trying to recover from what happened, being saved by Bullseye and stuff, but at the same time, he still has his back up against the corner, and now he's basically dealing with the persona of Matt Murdock is supposedly missing, and to use that sense of leverage, knowing that he is Daredevil as a way of building up the resistance and fighting, underground, right? As Matt Murdock in the daytime, and Daredevil in the nighttime. But what we see here is that basically Kingpin, he's basically given the option. Hey, why don't you just tell people that he's Daredevil? And he's like, no, I can't, because he saved me. You know, I can't just do that. And he's smiling at it. That was a very interesting scene. It's just like, I could do this, but he took a bullet for me. Why do I just want to, make this just heighten the situation and tell him who this dude is? Like, nah. But you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make him a hero because he saved him. He saved Wilson Fisk, the mayor.
It's like Matt is still having to pay for the fact that he took a bullet. But even if it wasn't for that, I think it would be a hard thing to do, because people remember Matt Murdock as the blind attorney who has saved so many lives and won so many court cases from both the Netflix show and other instances, and he's well liked amongst New York, especially within Hell's Kitchen and elsewhere. So you basically say, oh yeah, that guy is Daredevil. You're turning Daredevil from a vigilante with no discernible face that people can make up whatever they want to a person who they know who it is, and it brings conflicting feelings, and it honestly could work against Fisk if he thinks about it. Like, it's not going to be the same way of Peter Parker when his identity got exposed in No Way Home, because he was still a kid. People could think what they wanted to, and not many people knew Peter Parker like that. But Matt Murdock's a whole different situation. So even if it wasn't to use this against Matt, I still think it would have blown up in Fisk's face if he did go like, oh yeah, Matt Murdock is Daredevil. That would have blown up still.
Yeah, Phil, what do you think?
I agree with everything J-King said, because frankly, I mean, I think I said it when we were watching it, like, he basically kind of inadvertently puts another target on Matt's head. Now he's got both sides gunning for him, between the Anti-Vigilante Task Force gunning for him as Daredevil and then the public looking for him as Matt Murdock. It definitely puts him in a much tighter corner than he was already in. So I think that was pretty smart on Kingpin's play to, effectively try and force Matt out of hiding. And it's going to be very interesting to see, given how the episode ends, how Matt has to now navigate this going forward. I'd also just like to say, like, the performances in this episode really top notch. A lot of good stuff from everyone in this episode. I think, especially, there's a scene there between Kingpin and young Daniel where, that is Kingpin to a T. What he does to Daniel, the way he spooks him, the way he just lets him know, the handling of that scene, the presence of it all, top notch, top tier. Love it. And even, Charlie Cox and Deborah and Woll, like, they are giving it all this season too. And I love that their chemistry is really starting to radiate off screen too. Well, not off screen, but you know what I mean? Like, it's starting to really radiate in the show and show that these are two very, broken people who went through some very similar things, but they have found not a trauma bond per se, but they've just found companionship in this endeavor to clean up New York City. And I find that very endearing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And one thing also going to Daniel, he had a very interesting scene with BB at his apartment. And, basically find out there's this Kingpin video of propaganda that's leaking out, but linked out from his computer, I believe. So it's like he is trying to find where's the leak is coming from, right? And he believes it's BB. And yet this is his friend. And you're seeing that he still actually has feelings for her, whether romantically or just as a friend, but still is that just applied that he is scared of Wilson Fisk, right?
Yeah. And
I don't know that I at first in the last season think, okay, he's just gonna be used as a pawn, just as under Kingpin's, right hand man, now made him, deputy mayor of communication. And now he's using it for his own personal gain, right? But there might be opportunity where he might have some sense of redemption. I don't know. But in that scene though, he with the spandex and everything, like he was coming. It looked like his dad. No,
I mean, interesting choice of words, right? Like he says, integrity costs, right? Like he makes it pretty known. Like, listen, I know my boss is kind of a shitbag. I am telling you, I am turning the other cheek because I like my life the way it is. And I'm like, oh, the relevancy, the real world relevancy going on there. Oh my gosh. The complete disassociation from what's going on in reality to what you want to be your constant reality. That is wild to me. But little does he know, he's actually for once right.
Yes.
In terms of where things are going, and like, are you the one leaking shit, BB? Boy, you are gonna be real fucking disappointed when you find out.
We find out that the what is a parody of? Was it Mr. Robot? Not
Yeah,
Mr.
so
Robot.
there's a show called Mr. Robot, which effectively is a lot not a lot like in this sense, but the premise of it is this kid, Elliot, has a dissociative identity disorder problem, but he's a genius hacker. And so it's all about his family, this ties to this big corporation called E Corp. But throughout the show, they have these bits and pieces where this anonymous like figure called F Society mocks E Corp and basically lets the world know in an underground way, like, this company isn't what it's all meant to be. It's not what it's all cracked up to be, through various, like, you know, underground videos made in the same way that we see in Daredevil here in the first 2 episodes. Very, very similar. I saw full, like, even when we saw the trailer for this months and months ago and they did this, I was like, oh, it's Mr. Robot.
Dude, J. King, how do you feel about BB being revealed as the fake Kingpin? When she literally took the mask off.
I know that was, look, we were either like, look, it's either her or it's Daniel or it's someone else that we weren't expecting. But I'm like, those are the 2 big suspects. So I'm not surprised that it's her. I feel like for us, it probably would have been a little bit, I mean, we'll see how it pans out, but it would have been a little bit better if it was Daniel, because, you know, we've been feeling a lot of the vibes of, oh, even if he isn't necessarily the character, he could be the MCU's rendition of Fisk's son, the Rose, and if so, that could be a way of leading into that. But no, it's BB, and I'm not mad at it, because it makes sense. You know, she's gonna find some way to fight back against the dude who murdered her uncle. So it's like, it's very much understandable why she's doing that, and also why she's not, like, she even said so herself last season, like, not everything that she does is put on her website, so this is the other alternative. You know, some people got to make a persona, some people got to put on a mask, and for hers, that mask is just mocking the current mayor of New York City. And let's just hope that this does not become a recreation of what happened to Ben Urich. I don't think so, but let's just hope it doesn't.
Right. It'd be interesting seeing where she gets her payoff in this end of season 2 for this show. But going to how the episode ended, we now seen that, you know, the task force is tighten up their stuff and everything, and they're finding all the nicks and crannies of, you know, hideouts and stuff, and they end up finding the hideout where Daredevil and Karen is staying at. And then, you know, Karen, she's been training, she's been doing some boxing and everything, and hand-to-hand combat. And apparently in Marvel and Disney, that means you can stop train armed forces. Even though you're probably, you know, a good pushing maybe 120, maybe. But you know, it's okay. But we able to, you know, capture one of the task force and interrogate them. Question is, which one? We don't actually know. We do know it's just a regular task force agent. It's not the one we saw earlier that's trying to jump back in, who actually got his butt kicked by Punisher. Cole North, who somehow survived an explosion to the face, is now back on the task force. Yeah. So it'd be very.
There's one other thing I don't think we've talked about, and that's the bullseye of the episode.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah.
I loved everything with Wilson Bethal in this episode, from the framing of the shots that he's in, from utilizing the blue light to evoke that he is, you know, twisted in a certain respect, because, you know, you have this character from the comics who's just blatantly insane, does not give a damn for anyone or anything, and he just loves to do what he does best, and that is just take shots, and not the alcohol kind. This dude is lethal. And I think the most chilling thing about him in this episode is when he's watching Heather and Vanessa, and he goes, look at the pigs getting fat. He is literally stalking his prey, dude. He knows who he's after. He's watching them, and he's even going out of his way to take out Wilson's task force. Fucking loved everything with Bullseye in this episode, dude. He is a menace, and I love it.
Yeah. And he's going back to the Netflix era of using light to emphasize characters. Again, I think, and what we said in our first review, for episode 1 that this season is feeling more like Netflix era of Daredevil than the first season of Born Again. And again, at the end of it, I was feeling kind of emotional a little bit because I know we're probably going to get a return of another character that's coming later on this season. But just the vibes and the quote unquote aura of Daredevil, going using the red light, using in terms of the characters' colors and the way emphasizing their presence on screen. But then now we're using where other characters are dealing with their trauma, and then even when they're dreaming or dealing with hallucinations, that the sense of reality is being highlighted by color and how the camera is panning and stuff. Like the color of a rose is blue when you realize that she's in a dream and everything. I thought that was very very interesting, and that detail, paying attention to detail for that was really really effective in that, and giving that payoff to that. Now I don't know what is going to be the end result here, because not like Muse is returning, but either for Heather, whether if there's some way that either she might become Muse in a weird twisted way, or now both Bullseye and Vanessa and her are gonna have to kind of like this triangle of like, well, me and Vanessa are going to relate to each other because of our trauma, while this maniac is actually going for the both of us stuff. And I wouldn't be surprised if he already knows that was used to be Daredevil's girl, because she was there dancing with him at the function.
Right.
So it's like, I think I know who both of you are, and now that would be very interesting if it comes to a point of her interacting with Bullseye and somehow having an interrogation of who he is, and kind of recapping what we kind of went through with season 3 of him and his origin, because we know this dude does not like to be freaking analyzed or he is abnormal. He is definitely has a problem, but he has an obsession as well. And when that obsession is it has a direct target, he's not going to miss. No pun intended. But yeah, that was I'm very intrigued to see the seeds that are planted for this, for his character, but also in terms of how they're going to resolve this, or it might result in one of these characters' deaths. Who knows? They're talking about fairy tales.
Did you also notice on the Anti-Vigilante Task Force vests, they have stolen the Punisher logo?
Yes. Now my question is, even though we know we have the Punisher special that's coming later this year, I don't know, it still doesn't mean the realm possibility that he still can't show up just to resolve that issue temporarily while he's dealing with other stuff in his special. But who knows? I will hope he will just come back at least for one episode just to address, to resolve that, and have him kill that main leader of the task force. Because it'll be parallel to season 1 of Born Again, when he was tied up and they're asking like, hey, we admire you, just join us. Like, no, I don't want you guys.
Well, keep in mind, he got out of that at the end of season 1. They imply that Frank gets out of that. So I'm wondering if he shows up here, then that possibly could lead to a conversation of like Matt or Karen being like, how did you get out of that? And he'll be like, I don't know, story for another time. And then we get the special. I think the special's supposed to come out in like May or June or something like that. And that makes sense because we know that John Bernthal is also in Spider-Man Brand New Day. So I don't know how you don't go from things happening in this, have him be directly involved in season 1, the special, and then lead it. I don't see how we get anything in Daredevil season 2 that does not lead directly in Brand New Day in some capacity. I think
it definitely will, because it's like they have talked about how they have been working with the Brand New Day team very, very tightly just to make sure everything is cohesive. So things that we see within this show will have some consequences in Brand New Day, and Brand New Day will even have some stuff that references back to stuff we will see here, or at the very least is like the next chapter after that. Again, I don't know what the timeline of it's going to look like, if it's this, like if it's literally within how everything is produced, like this, then the Punisher special, then Spider-Man Brand New Day, or Punishers beforehand, or whatever the case may be. We'll find out eventually, but at the very least, we know whatever happens here, we'll definitely see some cohesion and some connection when we see Spider-Man in July. So
I agree.
Yeah, and I'm very, again, these first 2 episodes, I think the pacing of this has been phenomenal. I have some criticism for Born Again season 1, not major criticisms, but again, I think as that was kind of like palate cleanser to kind of bring us back into this world of Daredevil now, but also to recover from its own mistakes from a production standpoint of rewriting mid-season and everything, and you have to have some capacity. There is going to be some structural issues even within the narrative to even mitigate that to a point where it's like seems seamless to the audience, but because of the internet and everything, we already know. So if we feel there might be a shift in tone or consistency, I think with this, again, we're feeling that level of momentum that they have established their footing as a writing team and directing style as well. And also, again, bringing back pivotal returning characters to this while also establishing the new ones that you introduced and pairing them with each other with a seasoned veteran character and a new character to balance that out, but still kind of sense of like giving enough narrative weight to both of those characters. Again, I think it's good in terms of knowing how to balance especially different arcs that we're going to, even when we get to like Daniel and BB, and we get to Karen and Matt, and then when Karen talks to
Angela, that's her name. That's the one who's about to become like Tiger.
Yeah. Right, and you know, and them having interaction, or Karen and BB also having a relationship as well, because what her uncle did for Karen in season 1. So it's just like, this is there's nice Easter eggs, but also just like nice moments for our audience member who stuck this out at this point for 10 years, you know, to get to this. So I'm along for this ride and everything, and I'm looking forward to what they have in store for episode 3, even though they also greenlit for season 3 as well. So yeah, we're gonna get more.
They're going for season. They're getting a 3rd season.
Yes.
I didn't know that. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Well, that's gonna be interesting, because that has to happen after Doomsday. So it's going to be real interesting to see how they where does this fall in terms of like between Doomsday and Secret Wars. That's interesting. I didn't know that. I didn't know they were getting a 3rd season. I had no idea that was already greenlit. Okay.
I think they're filming maybe in like 2 months from now. They're filming like 2 months, I think, for season 3.
Correct. Around a couple of months. So it's gonna be interesting because they'd be filming at the same time to do Secret Wars. So yeah. So that'd be interesting. But
that production kicks off in like July, I think.
Yeah. What for it? Secret Wars?
Yeah, Secret Wars. Sometime either before that.
So actually, yeah, guys. But yeah, this concludes our review. Make sure you subscribe button, comment, like, and share. Tune into next week as we go over Daredevil Born Again season 2, episode 3. It'll be on Disney Plus, and let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. All right, guys. We'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Hey y'all, so again, this was recorded well in advance, so we did not know what the release schedule was. So episode 3's review will be posted later on, or by the time you're seeing this video. But yeah, bye.